Hi everyone. It's Mrs. Powers here. I wanted to take a couple minutes today to share with you a little bit about what it means to take command of your writing. As I was reading through some of your random acts of kindness reflections, I just really felt as though some of you were writing without control, which I know sounds weird. But I want to give you a little bit of an example. All right. So if you had this prompt, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you needed to respond to that prompt. A lot of you kind of do something like this. And I'm literally doing this on the spot so you can trust that I haven't like planned out a bunch of things or whatever. But this is what I see a lot of the time. I want to be a movie star. That would be fun because I could travel and become famous. Sorry, my picture cuts that off there. Lots of people would want to know me and be me. Also, I'd be rich. Being rich would be so awesome. I could buy anything I wanted, and I could also give lots of money to my friends and family. You could work as often as you want to, and I would get to experience a lot of neat things. Okay, so I'm going to stop here for now. And what I want you to notice about what I just wrote, I want you to notice how it kind of feels like I just blabbed. I just kind of blabbed on and on. I wrote whatever came to mind, and I didn't really have a purpose or an agenda to it. One of the nice things about my writing and what I just did for you is that I did include punctuation. I had a period at the end of each sentence, and I used commas when I'm supposed to, okay? A lot of my sentences are very short, simple sentences. Also, I'd be rich. I want to be a movie star. Lots of people would want to know me and be me. These are all very simple sentences, not very complex. And also, another thing you should notice is that my vocabulary is not very interesting. I would get to experience a lot of neat things. Is not nearly as interesting as saying I would get to experience a lot of unique opportunities or adventures. I don't know, just something more interesting. Same thing with the word fun. Fun is such a bland word, and that's the first one that came to my mind when I was writing, so I used it, right? And that's kind of what often happens with a lot of my 7th graders. As I'm reading what you write, a lot of what you write is just the first thing that comes to mind. You write what comes to mind, and then you leave it there. You don't modify it, and you don't switch things around. Like I look at the repetition here. Also, I'd be rich. Being rich would be so awesome. Why do I need to repeat the word rich twice in a row? I could easily change that to another word. Being wealthy would be so awesome. Another word that's very vague is the word awesome. Awesome is a very vague word. Doesn't really say a whole lot. And so I really want you to work on thinking a little bit more about the possibilities when you write. And that's called being in command or taking command of your writing. You are the boss of what you write. And so part of being a boss is really considering what your options are and using all of your knowledge to make your writing as effective as possible. Effective writing is going to be interesting to read, right? Effective writing has your voice. What that means is that it's almost as though you could hear yourself reading it. Someone else who reads your writing, if they know you, it sounds like you. It reflects you and your personality and who you are. I have a friend in college who spoke in metaphors all the time. I mean, everything she thought was very metaphorical. And so when she wrote, that carried over. I have another friend who's very sarcastic. And so when she writes, she incorporates a lot of sarcasm when it's applicable. So if you're writing effectively, I'm just going to make this in here bigger. Effective writing is interesting, and it has your voice. And of course, it communicates with purpose, okay? It needs to have purpose, and that purpose needs to be clear, and it shouldn't leave people questioning what the point of your writing is. So what I would like to do is move on over to another slide and show you a little bit more about what I would expect you to do if you were taking command of your writing. And I'm going to stick with some of the same ideas. I can keep with the idea of being a movie star. I can talk about traveling. I can talk about being rich. Okay? But I'm going to organize my ideas a little bit better, and hopefully I will be able to be a little bit more effective. So as I start my prompt, I want to think about some of the ways that I can start that would not be super boring and bland. What do you want to be when you grow up? I could start the way that I did here. I want to be a movie star. When I grow up, I want to be a movie star. But I know that that's pretty cliche. And even though we're teaching you to use race, there are still some more interesting ways you can respond. I can still restate the question at the beginning, but not start in a really boring way. So, choosing a future career feels a lot like searching for a needle in a haystack. Thought I'd throw in some figurative language. We are so, I was going to write lucky, but then I decided a better word would be fortunate. Just a bigger word. We are so fortunate to have, I was going to say so many options. I'm going to say such a variety of options. I was going to say, see, this is what I do. I was going to say for me, but instead I'm going to say personally, it would be a dream come true, more figurative language, to live the life of a movie star. star. I have to stop and think for a second now because I don't want to just keep blabbing. I've now stated, I've answered my question. What do you want to be when you grow up? I've now claimed that I would like to be a movie star, right? So now I have to think what comes next. I need to explain myself. I need to explain what would be so great about being a movie star. And so when I go back to my original, my rough draft, you could say, again, I want to talk about how neat it would be to be famous and why it would maybe be such a great thing to be rich. Something a teacher will never know. Anyway, so maybe I would say something like, let's see, personally, it would be a dream come true to live the life of a movie star. Living in the spotlight would be exhausting, yet exhilarating. I'd love the attention, which really isn't true about me, but I'd love the attention and all the fans who would adore me and aspire to be like me. Being famous would mean that I would be important and never forgotten. Notice how I was more specific there instead of just saying being famous. Oh, I didn't even say anything. Never mind. Okay, keep going. Keep going, Mrs. Powers. Being famous. Okay, now I'm going to talk about being rich because that was my other thought, right? So I need a transition word. I have a new topic. So furthermore, movie stars typically get paid, I was going to say a lot of money, but I'm going to be more creative. I'm going to say massive amounts of money. It would be fascinating to have more, I don't want to say money again. It would be fascinating to make so much. It would be, I don't want to say that either because I'm again trying to say money. It would be fascinating to I'm stuck. I can come back to this later. I can't stay here for too long or else I'll lose my flow. I'm going to just go with what I can think of and then I'll come back to it later. It'd be fascinating to make so much money that I wouldn't know what to do with it. And I'm just going to highlight or underline that phrase. I want to do something different with that later. Then I'm going to do a for instance. For instance, because I want to give an example of what I would do with all this money. For instance, what would I do after paying in cash for a great house, travel around the world, and buy lots of great toys for my friends and family. Overall, the life of a star sounds dreamy. And then I'm done. So if you compared the two, you'd see quite a few differences. And that's what I want you to work towards.